no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? This Raiders Report mailbag is presented by Manscaped. It's not too late. You can still get your dad something awesome for Father's Day. One of the best gifts out there, the Lawnmower 4.0. You can go ahead and get it at manscaped.com/Raiders and make sure you're saving 20% off and free shipping. But you got to go to that link below and use promo code Raiders. Daniel Sanders, you're the first one up here. Super chat time. Raider fan for life. Can I get a hell yeah? Can I get a hell yeah in the comment section for Daniel Sanders? Hell yeah! Jackson, oh wow. Jackson, le Messieur. One player that will determine Raiders' success, not Derek Carr. So one player that I really think could totally transform this defense, and you know, you could yell at me if you want, Merrick, the free safety out of TCU, our rookie. One of the biggest reasons why we struggled last year is because we got killed by the deep ball. If Merrick could come in and totally transcend things, that would be big. Another player, Alex Leatherwood. One of the biggest reasons why this Raiders offensive line struggled last year. Right tackle, they just never knew who was going to start. So all these players in and out of the lineup. Alex Leatherwood, Merrick, those are two big keys, because that also means we hit on some of our rookies. Rustin Long, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. Mitch, the GOAT, Nathan Peterman is in the comments. Yes, I saw the GOAT, Nathan Peterman, in the comments. Peterman, appreciate it. If you're shaving your Nathan Peterman, go ahead and go to Manscaped. Let's go to Papaya Man 89. What's up, Mitch? You think Amik Robertson can grab that starting slot corner position? I do think that he can get it, and he's a good player. I liked him when he was coming out of Louisiana Tech. Had 14 interceptions in college in 3 years. He's a little bit undersized, but what I'm really curious to see what he does is if he can be an outside corner, because there's been some reports out there from Gus Bradley himself that's like, hey, man, I like this kid on the outside, which surprises me because the usual Gus Bradley corners are a little bit longer and lanky, but I also think it speaks volumes of how physical Robertson is, how quick his first step is, and how legit his ball skills truly are. So, Meek, if you want to come on the Raiders board and shout out Manscaped with those ball skills, please go ahead and do so. But, yes, I do think that he can challenge at starting slot position, especially if Damon Arnett only wants to play on the outside. Let's go to this next one coming in here from Odobo Chicken. Should the Raiders try to trade for Xavien Howard? Oh, boy. So Howard is another player out there, much like Stephon Gilmore, didn't end up going to mandatory minicamp on day one. Howard's upset because he wants a new contract, which is, let me just say this. If you get a contract in the NFL, I'm a believer that you should have to live up to it. I don't like the idea of you holding out, especially after just 2019, you get a brand new deal where I believe you're the 6th highest paid cornerback in the National Football League. Is he one of the better players? Yes. Is he coming off a 10-interception season? Yes. But I don't like the idea that players can just get out of their contracts whenever they want if they, pout about it a little bit. So he's a great player, would definitely help out this team. But if you are going to trade for him, you're probably going to have to give up a first and maybe a 4th-round pick and then pay him more than what Jalen Ramsey is making, so more than $21 million a year. Something to think about. All right, so what do you guys think here? How good is the Raiders' secondary on a scale from 1 to 10? So this is a perfect question of time with that last one. The only reason why, oh yeah, we got a $25 super chat. The only reason why you would ever think about going out and trading for Xavien Howard or Stephon Gilmore is if you're just like, man, this secondary absolutely blows and the younger players have no chance of ever being successful. Or you think that this team is in win-now mode. I like the Raiders a lot. They're not a Super Bowl caliber team as it stands right now. That's just what I personally believe. But if they are a Super Bowl caliber team, then sure, then you go out and make this move. In terms of how good is the Raiders secondary, until I see something else, I'm only going to sit here and say a 4 or a 5, but that's because they were literally the worst secondary in the National Football League last year. All right, you got another super chat coming in from Zornell Malone. Could the Raiders trade for Chandler Jones for 2 second draft picks? Chugs is so ready. All right, could the Raiders trade for Chandler Jones for 2 second-round draft picks? I mean, Chandler Jones, I would take Chandler Jones in a freaking heartbeat. You want to talk about a player grossly underrated? It's Jones. I mean, 19.5 sacks, I believe, in 2019. He's had over 10 sacks the last, 4 out of the last 5 seasons. This guy's an absolute freak of nature. And if you want a veteran who could really help out a player like Malcolm Kuntz, I would love this deal. But again, It's probably be a 2-year deal. You're giving up a lot of draft capital, and you're going to have to pay him a heavy, handsome amount of money. So if it could happen, though, man, I would totally be on board for it. So you guys are watching the Raiders Report. If you could, go ahead and use hashtag Raiders, or you can go ahead and super chat. This one's coming in from Dolmite X, $20. We all saw the draft. Everyone was screaming for Mitch and Raider Nation when the tech went south on the main chat sports feed. If you get punished for subscribers or likes, I would move on and give me a drink, bro. Ha, ha, ha. You know, I'm not really sure what you're referring to. If you get punished for subscribers or like, I don't get punished. I get rewarded. But Dolmite, I appreciate the super chat. And, yes, I appreciate everyone screaming for us. Let's go to the next one coming in here. We got Aaron Braun, babe. We all know the cold stadium impacts teams, but do you think the scorching hot Vegas will have the same impact? Is the stadium going to be AC'd? Yeah, the stadium is going to be AC'd, and it's actually interesting. The Raiders, they already started their minicamp simply because they're starting it earlier in the day. Today in Las Vegas, it was supposed to be, I believe, like 115 degrees. I went out to Vegas last year, and it was 115 degrees. I was, like, filming all this stuff to find the best Raiders bars. You guys can check it out, chatsports.com/Raiders bars. I couldn't even make it through a meal because I was sweating so bad. So imagine putting on the pads. But if the heat does come into impact, yes, I do think some of these players could, especially from these other teams, not be ready for the amount of heat that's about to come. Now, let's just say you're in Las Vegas and you are sweatier than balls. Well, guess what? Use the ball deodorant, which you guys can get in the perfect package from Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com/Raiders. Usually it's $109.99. We're going to cut those prices down for you. Give it to you for $87.99. Now, I get it. Father's Day, man. It's like basically here. And if, let's say, you didn't get your dad something special, or let's say you're a dad watching this right now, you're like, I didn't get anything for my special day. Well, guess what? It's going to be in the comments. It's going to be in the description. Head on over to manscaped.com/Raiders where you guys can get your hands on the perfect package. And then that way, maybe your wife, significant other, or some random person down the street can get their hands on your perfect package. So it's, again, manscaped.com/Raiders. It's also a great Father's Day gift. Come on. I got you. Let's go to Daniel Sanders here. Chug. So what Daniel's talking about is producer Jeremy, the guy that's down there, is telling you all, the links in the live chat. I said for a $25 super chat, we're going to get Jeremy come up here on the show, and I'm going to give him some love. So what I want you guys to do is this. We're going to chug a beer. Looks like I'm going to chug one too. Yeah? You got me? Okay, so this is what's going to happen. You're going to get two? All right, so Jeremy's going to chug 2 beers, and all you guys did was do one. So we do stuff like this occasionally on the Raiders Report. So while Jeremy is out there chugging 2 beers, I want you to go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter at J.I. Beedling. I know it looks like J.I. Bleeding. Oh, my. He's just going for it. I haven't seen somebody attack a beer like this since the last time I used Manscaped. You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, give him a follow on Twitter at J.I. Beedling. He definitely deserves it. If you go ahead and give him a follow, I'll give you a shout-out as well. I guess I got to try to chug a beer to that now, so give me a sec here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to sip. And we'll go to this next one here. I'll finish this by the end of the show. What up, J Raider 84? That was just beyond wild there. I believe Carr will be in the MVP conversation this year. Will he win it? I don't know, but he will be in the conversation. And if that happens, playoffs, baby. The only way Derek Carr is actually going to be in the conversation is if the Raiders do make the playoffs. And it's simply because Carr's not going to be the person that puts up 40 touchdowns. He's not going to be the quarterback that gets near 5,000 yards. And I don't want him to be that guy because he is showing he is a very effective passer. They're also going to still run the football, and because MVP is a statistical-driven, award, that's why I don't think Carr is going to be in the MVP discussion. Now, let's say he goes out and throws for 35 touchdowns, can be around like 5 interceptions, keep the fumbles down, and the Raiders go on to win 11, 12 games, compete with the Chiefs in the AFC West. That, to me, deserves MVP discussion. However, I just don't think he's going to put up the stats to win it. Doesn't mean he can't win it, but I agree with you. Playoffs, though, that's the more important thing. Cheers to you, J Raider 84. All right, this one's coming in from Shambles. Since you wanted Julio, I saw that Michael Thomas is on the trade block. Should we get him? So I don't really know if there's like Michael Thomas actually being out there on the trade block. I'm sure there's an article out there somewhere, probably from Bleacher Report, that was like, oh, Michael Thomas should get traded. Michael Thomas is a phenomenal, phenomenal player, but basically just like what we were talking about with Xavien Howard. If you're going to trade for Thomas, you're going to be paying a lot of money. So he's only going to make $10 million this year. And because the Saints had to push his contract back, he then makes over $24 million the next 3 years. Great player, no doubt about it. However, that's not where I'm going to invest $24 million. I'd rather invest it on the defensive side of the football, but the only way you also make that deal is if Henry Ruggs is a disaster, Brian Edwards doesn't show he can play, and John Brown gets hurt. So I love Michael Thomas. If you're going to give him to me for cheap, great, but it's another player where if I'm New Orleans, I want at least 2 first-round picks. So if you guys have a question and you want to get featured on the show, all you got to do is make sure that you are subscribed. So when we go live every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, you can tune in and watch all of our shows. So I promised you all that we would start chugging some beers here. Give me 1 second. And if you haven't subscribed to the Raiders Report, find me another Raiders channel that makes crazy guys in the background come on here and chug Coronas. Exactly. You're not going to find it. All right, we got a super chat coming in from Daniel. I'll drink to every $5 super. I think that seems fair. Mitch, I'm sick and tired of the media putting down our offensive line without us playing a snap. What the F is on here with a problemo? Wait, no, it's problem. Offensive line was crap at the end of last year. So, all right, I kind of butchered that. There's no doubt about it. But you are right that the media is definitely ripping apart the offensive line, but they have failed to realize that Rodney Hudson took a major step back. Gabe Jackson wasn't actually as effective, and Trent Brown was an absolute disaster. Plus, when you had the highest paid offensive line, you needed to make a few things move in and out, and that's exactly what the Raiders did. They had confidence in Denzelle Good being able to play swing guard / swing tackle if need be. They wanted to see what they had in Andre James because Rodney Hudson's a great pass blocker. He was actually statistically the worst run-blocking center in the league. The Raiders want to run the football. I know I've said it 100 times on here, but that's just the media not really doing their homework and taking a deep dive. That's why I always tell people, subscribe to the Raiders Report. We're not mainstream media. I give you guys my honest opinion. All right, we got another one coming in from Dolomite X. He's hired. So I guess you're saying it's because you sent in a $20 super chat. You sent in a $5. I mean, Jeremy, the reason why we call Jeremy Chugs, oh, man, we got another $25 super. So, Jeremy, if you want in on the action, you got to come back in here, man. The reason why we call him Jeremy Chugs is because the very, very first day of work, I actually don't even know if he was hired yet. He chugged a beer here on the Raiders board, and that was, I believe, for Kenyon Drake. We went live for Kenyon Drake, and that was one of the most wild shows I've ever done here at the Raiders Report. Let's go to Anna Acosta. Who do you want the Raiders to sign right now? Technically, Divine Diablo. If you guys are watching this on Tuesday, he is still yet to sign his rookie deal. But a legitimate player that could come in right away and contribute to this football team, I'll actually throw out the name Brian Poole. Brian Poole is probably the top slot corner still out there on the market. He could be that starting player for us. You could sign him to a one-year deal. I bet you it's somewhere around what Casey Hayward's making, maybe even a little bit cheaper. And you have Amik Robertson learn behind him. He's better than Damon Arnett, especially in the slot. If I could bet my money on one place, that's probably the route I'd go. Or Justin Houston. So heat check time. How hot is it right now where y'all live? Because right now in Dallas, Texas, it's somewhere like 90, 95 degrees. And from what I also... 97 degrees in Dallas. The other reason why I brought this up is because Las Vegas is like 116 degrees. So I'm just curious, how hot is it right now where you guys are at? And what if you can't tell how hot it is, stick your hand downstairs, and if you got some sweat going on, get rid of that sweat. Manscaped.com/Raiders, because they have these things called crop mops, which is like, it's like a dude wipe for your nutsack. So you can literally get this wipe. And imagine, like we've all used a wipe somewhere. Maybe you're washing your face when you go to bed. Maybe you're cleaning up after yourself down there. Like you can just swipe down there a little bit, and it gets rid of all the stench. That's all I'm saying right now. Manscaped.com/Raiders. If you walk by somebody and you get that stench, maybe it's some Famunda cheese. If you don't know what that is, look it up on Google. Get rid of Famunda cheese. Go to Manscaped. All right, y'all. As you can tell, I love Manscaped. I love having a good time. If you want to get to know me a little bit better, easiest way to do that is by hitting me up on IG at MitchellRenz365. If anybody lives near Nashville, I'm going to be there this weekend for a bachelor party. So maybe we can grab a drink or two or three. Let's go to another super chat coming in here from Can't Walk. Much love, Raider fam. Raiders combined yards and touchdowns between Jacobs and Drake. So combined, we'll say total yards, I'll go 2,500 combined total yards. Actually, that's probably even a little bit low. I might actually go 3,000 because I think Jacobs has over 1,000 rushing yards. Probably 3,000, 2,500. We'll stick with 2,500. 2,500 yards, and we'll go with 15 total touchdowns. That's going to be my prediction for both those guys combined. Cheers to you, Cant. What up, Erica Salazar? Do you think we will keep Jalen Richard? So far, I've been pretty wrong on this one. I actually gave this 4 Chucky heads on the show like a month ago that I thought the Raiders were going to move on from him, but he's still on the roster. There's no reason at this point, since after June 1st, he's still there. Like, maybe it's a surprise cut a little bit later on, but you could still see the Raiders are like, all right, we're going to hang on to him. Maybe we can work out a deal. Maybe we can figure out a way to trade him for something, but if I was running this Raiders organization, I love Jalen. He is a great freaking football player. He's done all the right things. If you want to move on from Jalen, get some draft capital, that's great. Or you could cut him right now, and then actually bring him back on a cheaper deal. That's also something I'd be open to. But if you're telling me I can save $2.35 million on my backup running back, yeah, I'm going to do it. All right, we got Cookie Monster coming in here. Let's be honest. If Bill Belichick got Derek Carr, they would win a Super Bowl. Would they? Like, would they honestly? Like, ask me that question because, like, here's the one thing. I'm actually curious to see what happens to Bill Belichick's legacy because he was a horrible coach when he was with the Giants, right? Gets Tom Brady, and then he was great. He didn't even really want to draft Tom Brady. Tom Brady leaves. They go 7-9. Tampa Bay wins a Super Bowl. All I'm saying is, like, Bill Belichick is still probably going to go down as the greatest coach of all time. But if he loses again this season, could we actually talk about him being a little bit overrated? That one's 2 Chucky heads.